We're preparing to live stream.
Yep.
Okay, you're good.
We're live streaming. Yay. Okay. So, hey, everybody, welcome to the comfort zone. What is the comfort zone? We're going to get into all that. But let me just welcome you to this channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We do a lot of these. You're going to find these are actual master classes. There's a big difference between a master class, which is just a sales pitch, and a real master class. A real master class means that you walk out with the information that you need to master something. The fake master classes is when there's upsells and everything else. So this is an opportunity if you get to work with us and see what we're all about. Now, down below in the description, you'll see a link to a worksheet because there's a lot of content here. And you can print out that worksheet. It has a few fill-ins to keep you engaged. What we really want you to do is get a feel for what it's like to work with actual educational backgrounded people. I have a degree in master's degree in education, English, and the School of Hard Knocks. So I've basically done it all. So let's hop right in here and get going. I want to wish you aloha from beautiful Kauai, Hawaii. It's actually right on this spot down in the left-hand corner. You can just see a little bit of dirt down there. That's actually the spot that Davine, the fabulous Davine, and myself, we walked up from that beach that you see down there. That's KA Beach. No matter what you do in your life on your bucket list, put this on your bucket list. It's the eighth wonder of the world. Let me just do one quick thing here. So you definitely want to hike the Kalalau Trail. It's the eighth wonder of the world. It's absolutely amazing, but it's right here. And when we turned around, when we got up there, that's what we saw and hiked along all those that are known as dikes, volcanic dikes. And I don't have this in here to show you what a wonderful life we have or anything. I have this in here for two reasons. Number one, we made the decision right in that spot that I just showed you. This is where we're going to live. And because we were used to expanding our comfort zone, we were able to get through the challenges and obstacles that everybody faces when they're trying to go for something big. So that's one reason. The second reason is I've been here so long. We've been here since 2010. We set a goal to get here in 2012. We got here in 2010 because once you expand your comfort zone, things get progressively easier and easier and easier. But there's a lot of birds here, and I don't hear them anymore. So if you hear some birds screaming in the background, it's really just think of it as the sound of somebody's dream that came true. And aloha. I want to talk about this word aloha. I thought meant hello, and then I thought it meant goodbye, and then I thought it meant hello and goodbye. Turns out alo is divine or spirit, and ha is breath. So I want to put aloha on you, and so does my beautiful wife, the fabulous Davine. We want to put aloha on you that your mind is open and that you can grab a couple of ideas as well as get to see how we work. So this is the comfort zone, how to expand your comfort zone. Let's talk about the agenda, the truth about goals and taking massive action. I know they sound great. You've heard it from everyone from, Les Brown and Tony Robbins and every pitch man that's ever been at a sales seminar, a network marketing seminar. And you're probably wondering, why doesn't it work for me? It sounds so great. Well, there's a reason it doesn't work. And then, of course, most people talk about the comfort zone. And if you're anything like me, you don't really know what it is. We all know that until we control it, it's going to control us. So we're going to give you define the 5 walls and define what the comfort zone is. Much easier to work with and overcome an enemy and actually turn it into an ally if you know what the hell it is. Okay. So how did your comfort zone actually develop? And then expanding the comfort zone daily, how to flip the 5 walls of the comfort zone and turning those inhibitors into action. Those things that you want to do and you don't do them and then you feel shitty about it the next day. Well, this is turning those walls into action for you. And the compounding effect of expanding your zone daily is really quite miraculous. So here's the truth, and you've probably seen this picture, right? just get outside your comfort zone. And we always see this picture of a goldfish or something like it jumping from one bowl to another. Good luck with that fairy tale, right? Get out of your comfort zone. And we hear it all the time. To get something different, you've got to do something different. Take massive action. Get out of your comfort zone and manifest a dream. The truth is, it's all bullshit and it doesn't work because there's three big lies here. Number one, goals that are set that are not in line with the purpose of your soul never happen, because the only thing that forces us to alter our behavior, in other words, change our habits, is passion. You're going to want it more than oxygen. And most of us, and if you're anything like me, and I'm like most people, we pick goals that what? They're other people's ideas. We've been conditioned. To create change that lasts, you've got to want that purpose more than oxygen. If we take massive action as the same person, we're going to get the same results, only on a bigger scale. It's so dumb when you think about it. And the truth of the matter is, nobody moves out of the comfort zone permanently. I mean, we have those things say, okay, this time I'm really going to do this. And we go do it and are so relieved that the earth didn't swallow us up and nothing horrible happened. We do what? We go right back into what's actually comfortable. Dave, can you mute? Okay. And to help you permanently get out of that comfort zone, you want to be aware that one of the reasons we do this is so that you can see how we actually work. And we have a thing called the Master Key Experience. It is a flagship product of ours. And don't worry, there's not a price coming at you. The reality is everybody gets into that course on a full scholarship. And we also have a vision workshop. And this is a true master class. It's a 4-hour workshop. That'll be the first week in September. And the Master Key Experience begins at the end of September. So join us for the vision workshop, okay? And we'll give you that link before we're done today. There's no upsells there. It's 4 hours, 2 2-hour sessions, and you'll find out why setting goals is the fifth thing that you should do, not the first thing. The fifth, not the first. Again, not Les Brown, not Tony Robbins. Love those guys, respect their style on stage and everything. But setting goals doesn't work until you're in alignment. So come to the vision workshop. We'll show you how to do it. And again, no upsells. That's free too. Give you a chance to work with us and see how things go. So there's a blueprint that runs our life. Look at, we have an experience and we have a thought around that. That perception creates a template that becomes our reality if that thought gets charged with feeling. This is why massive action is total nonsense. The zone is your experiences trigger a thought, they get charged with feeling, and the reality of that pain or pleasure around that creates a habit in the mind. And you're looking at the blueprint right there. Thought charged with feeling becomes a belief. If you want to know what you really believe, look at your life. Your life is a printout of what you really believe, which is why massive action, which is what people want you to focus on, massive action, most people believe, is what is cause, and results are effects. This is totally false, and the science is absolutely clear on this. The cause of our actions and results come from the blueprint that you see circled there: thought, feeling, charged with feeling that becomes a belief. We always have and we always will create our own reality. So this isn't one of these stupid things. Well, just get in the right vibration with a house at the beach and your Ferrari, and it'll just show up. You have to know that that's bullshit. Okay. Do we need to raise our consciousness? Yes. But how do we do that? By expanding our comfort zone a little bit at a time. Our perception of an experience triggers a feeling. This causes or forms a belief. That's cause. The belief dictates our action. Okay. That action manifests results. So both action and results are effects. What prohibits us from consistently taking different action? Our thought. And what is our thought ruled by? The comfort zone. Okay. What is the comfort zone really? It's really comprised of things that we don't want to feel. It's not about what we want to feel. It's what we don't want to feel. And if you don't know the 5 walls, then you'll continue to go and buy self-help books like I did and not get any results. The ideas sound great. and inside there's a little depression about it, right? You buy the book, you understand it, it sounds great, but nothing changes. The reason is the comfort zone. In other words, that blue circled area, thought, feeling, belief, that comfort zone is what you are going to stay inside until you learn what it is and how to control it. We're going to show you how to do that. So every one of us, in other words, is living the life we choose. This is a series of choices and consequences, what is what really karma means. Karma is not some tutti frutti 1960s thing. You cut me off in traffic, man, that's bad karma. God's going to give you that, whatever. Karma means you realize you're making a choice while you're making it and what those consequences of the choice are. This is bad karma when people are not aware that they're making a decisions and what the consequences are. So let's take an example. A young woman from Minnesota, about 18, 19 years old, decides she wants to go to Los Angeles and somehow get in the movies, be an actor, work on sets, be a writer, something. And here it is now, 15 years later. She's a waitress. She's divorced, and she's got two young boys she's raising, and she's basically living out of her tip cup. That is not the decision that she made when she left Minnesota. The reason that she's a waitress, divorced, and two kids and living out of her tip cup is the month-to-month, day-to-day, minute-to-minute choices. And those choices that were made extended what? Precedent. And what dictated that precedent? The comfort zone. It's really that simple. In other words, did she try something new or did she go with the tried and true? What do? Do you try something new? Do you go ask that person out on a date that you got a little crush on? Or do you just not do it? Okay. Do you go with tried and true and hope that somehow she's going to ask you out, right? Do we try something new? Do we go with tried and true? Do we ponder a new adventure and build a plan for it? Or do we wonder what's on TV or get involved in doom scrolling? In other words, do we follow our heart or cater to our fear? The bottom line choice, do we go after what we want or do we do what's comfortable? Okay. Most people choose comfort. In a lifetime of choosing between comfort and perceived risk, remember the risk of action is dwarfed by the risk of comfortable inaction because most people end up living Thoreau's well-documented essay, which the bottom line was most people live lives of quiet desperation. So a lifetime between choosing comfort and perceived risk, we're left with the life that we currently have. If you want to blame other people, the rest of this webcast probably isn't for you. I used to blame other people and somebody said, well, who picked them? I did. And when they wanted to leave, what did you do? I asked them to stay. So you got to take 100% responsibility here. So I had to accept the premise. I'm responsible for the way my life has turned out, not what my mommy or daddy did or didn't do, not the teachers, not the coaches. It was me. This is proof that the world within creates the world without. And the comfort zone will control us until we decide to control it. But you can't control it if you don't know what it is. So what is the comfort zone? It has 5 components: fear, guilt, unworthiness, hurt feelings, and anger. And we don't want to feel fear, guilt, unworthiness, hurt feelings, or anger. So not feeling those things, making choices consciously and unconsciously to avoid fear, guilt, unworthiness, hurt feelings, and anger, that is comfort. Thus the name, the comfort zone. In other words, if I don't push the envelope in any of those places, then I don't have to feel those things. And that's true. I won't feel fear, anger, unworthiness, hurt feelings. But I'll be living a life of quiet desperation. And like that waitress, I'm now controlled by what? Choices that are comfortable that don't push those envelopes. Look, let's not blame our parents, like I said, coaches or anything else. We were born without a handbook. B.F. Skinner, who deserves all the accolades, if not more, than Freud and Jung, said that society attacks early when the individual is helpless, right? So you have to approach this thing non-judgmentally. Wasn't your mommy, wasn't your daddy, okay? And it's not the influence of the news or anything else, because those are all choices that you're making that make you feel comfortable. Listen to this again. Society attacks early when the individual is helpless. when you went to school, when I went to school, so a little boy, they tell you can be anything you want to be, but you better follow the rules like everybody else. Because if you don't, you'll go to the principal's office 3 times there, you're out of school, and you're going to live in a box under a bridge. So what did they do? They sequestered our individuality and rewarded compliance. And then you used what? Fear, guilt, unworthiness, hurt feelings, and anger to control us. They attacked us early. First behavioral psychologist. It's either expanding or contracting. And what really runs it is pain and pleasure. And for most people, by the time they're 30 years old, 35 years old, just the absence of pain starts to feel like pleasure. What a miserable existence. Now, you don't have to jump out. Matter of fact, like I said before, getting out of the comfort zone, that's a fairy tale. Yeah, you can jump out for a day or two, but then it's right back into the same thing. And I'm sure you've made many resolutions about going to the gym or quitting smoking or whatever it happens to be. And you do fine for a day or two, and then what? It's right back. That's because of that internal blueprint. However, we can nudge that comfort zone a quarter of an inch here, a half an inch there, a 16th of an inch here. When nudging the comfort zone, just nudging it a little bit, becomes a habit, the compounding effect is actually stunning because it never regains its original shape. Let me say that again. Once you nudge it just a little bit, it never regains its original shape. Now, all these great writers, and Hill stole all his material from Charles Haanel. Napoleon Hill of Think and Grow Rich was quite a scoundrel, really a bum, really a con artist. You can look it up online. It's a true fact. But anyway, he really stole his material from Charles Haanel, who wrote the incredible Master Key System. Again, that course is coming up at the end of September. And again, scholarships only. You cannot buy the course. Okay. Anyway, he took his material, Haanel, studied Emerson, and so did Wallace Wattles, who wrote the great trilogy, Science of Being Rich, Science of Being Great, and Science of Being Well. Amazing documents. They're really all one and the same. They came out of the same think tank, Haanel and Wattles, but they all loved Emerson. And Emerson said the mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimension. So the idea here that I want to share with you, or ideas I'm going to give you, is how to stretch, just nudge that comfort zone a little bit, a quarter of an inch here, an eighth of an inch here on a daily basis. So take my hope of aloha, that the spirit of the divine is on you. A little math about the compounding event. 1% a day for 30 days is not 130%. 100 days times 1% for 70 days is not 170, it's 206. This is the compounding effect. In other words, just going to get 1% better or 0.5% better every day. The compounding effect is amazing because you keep stretching it and getting more and more comfortable with things that you were uncomfortable with. So defining the comfort zone and the 5 walls, okay? Look at the first of 2 requirements to succeed at manifesting and at the same time not sacrificing yourself and your life and your truth, to some AI and everything else. Nothing wrong with that stuff if it helps you get stuff done faster, but that great theft of our imagination is out there. Find your truth, and you'll find it in the vision workshop. What your real heart's desire is, you'll then have that burning desire to embrace challenges. There's 2 requirements, right? The debate's pretty much over. Is your life ruled by environment or heredity? And then several studies of twins that were separated at birth, they found that they basically end up the same way. 2 of them in particular, 2 sets in particular, were found to be very creative. One that they caught up with later in life was a musician. The other one was a writer. So this is basically heredity, okay? Willingness is genetic, okay? Are you a specialist in fear, guilt, anger, hurt feelings, or unworthiness? I was a specialist in 3 of them. Courage and complacency, therefore, are what? Genetic predispositions. What does this mean? You have to accept the fact that your big dream, once you find it, and if you're anything like me, you've probably picked goals first. Again, that's the 5th thing that you want to pick. 5th thing that you do is set goals. What do all the self-help books and everything else tell you? pick goal. Number one, you're gonna have a big goal, you're gonna have a big dream. You have no idea who you really are, like I didn't, then you're picking from what? The conditioning that we had from our parents and school and everything else. So get to that vision workshop. It's the first week in September. Beautiful 4-hour workshop. Again, no upsells. We want you to experience what it feels like to interact with us on Zoom for 2 hours at a time and the hands-on support that we're famous for. So acceptance. Your big dream, Dharma, means living a life with purpose, of purpose, and on purpose. Once you find that, if it's authentic, it's safe, because you wouldn't be this far into this if you didn't have a genetic predisposition to improve. Some people have a genetic predisposition to complacency, not you. You're still listening. Thanks for being here. Let's get into the details, okay? The second thing is it takes effort. If your purpose is real and you find your authentic self, and you will through the Master Key Experience and the Vision Workshop, you have to know, believe me when I tell you, everybody tells you need a burning desire. Desire is not enough. You need to be willing to do the hard mental labor to change the internal blueprint, because the world without, like our waitress in Los Angeles, living out of her tip jar, she would have to do the hard mental labor to change the mindset, okay? Not what we say we believe, but our actions are actually a perfect printout of our beliefs. And Hanel wrote in the Master Key System, most people are unwilling to do the hard mental labor to create change, despite the fact that it's simple. What was his point? Desire is not enough. You've got to find your authentic truth, okay? And then learn how to stretch the zone. Because here's the bottom line that nobody tells you about change, but I will. It's fucking hard. Change is difficult. You know, everybody uses a butterfly. Oh, look at a butterfly. It grew from a caterpillar into a butterfly, and they show you a caterpillar, and then they show you the butterfly. Have you ever actually seen? I've been to the University of Kansas, where they do so much great work on the monarch butterfly. It's one of our 501c3s that we contribute to. And what's really fascinating is the changes that it goes from, the caterpillar into the cocoon and then trying to come out. It's hard. It's hard mental labor, which is why you need hands-on support, a mastermind partner to bring you through that. We also provide that to you free in the Master Key Experience and the Vision Workshop, okay? It's a process. You're actually crafting a remarkable piece of art. I like to call it the song of your soul. Don't die with your music unplayed. And the comfort zone keeps your music unplayed. If you realize that what you're going to bring to the world is going to benefit other people, because our purpose isn't what we get. Our purpose is what happens to other people when we're doing our thing, when we're moving towards the big dream and its effect on other people. So know that you're crafting this beautiful gift, this beautiful work of art, the expression of your truth in your life. If you do, then it'll feel like service, not really risk. Okay. So there's great news here. Okay. Something to print about. 2 key points. Number one, a deep desire. And again, if you're listening this far, you obviously have an inborn ability to achieve that desire. And 2, you have a genetic predisposition, which I already went over, to become more than you are. Okay. So let go of the banana. What's the banana? Well, there's this incredible monkey, very valuable, over in Africa that nobody can catch, but they catch them all day long. They just put a glass jar outside and put bananas in it. When the monkey reaches in, he can get his hands on the banana, but he can't get his hand out if he doesn't let go of the banana. And this impossible to catch monkey, they catch him all day long. They catch her all day long because they refuse to let go of the banana. Okay. Look, you've provided yourself with social and personal proof, if you get honest about your life, that all the quote unquote goals you've set, most, if not all of them, never manifested. And the reason is the comfort zone. Your genetic predisposition is not in doubt because you're this far into this thing, which means you say, okay, Mark, I get it. You're getting me all pumped up. How do I what is the comfort zone and how do I take these things and shift them in my favor? Because it all gets down to one thing. There are no common people, wrote Wallace Wattles. Jesus said, you'll do greater things than I. I mean, all the illuminated minds for millenniums have said the same thing. And all you have to do is the best with what you've been given. But if it's constricted by the comfort zone, then this beautiful song, this wonderful work of art, this great thing that you can do that will help other people and positively affect other people, all sequestered, okay? But believe this, you have a genetic predisposition, that's beyond doubt, to improve. So the fight or flight thing, this is physiological basis, is to outrun or fight. This goes back to the cavemen, right? And you come from a long line of fast runners and great fighters. Otherwise, your lifeline would have been cut short. So you're descendants of both the fastest and the scrappiest, which is really good. So fight, anger, is fight, and fear leads to flight. We want to rave. We don't want to think about it. We'll think about it tomorrow. We withdraw. Remember carrots and sticks. In the caveman days, all sociologists and psychologists know about this study, carrots and sticks. So carrots is what the cavemen went out to find, was both nourishment and mates. And sticks is a metaphor for what would kill them. So me, you, and Harry go down to the river, and Harry says, wow, look at that thing over there. It looks really beautiful. He goes over, it's a saber-toothed tiger, and it kills him. So what happens to you and I is we take a picture in our amygdala of a saber-toothed tiger in that part of the river, and we're all done. We're not going there anymore. Harry's gone, okay? There's two pillars to the comfort zone, okay? Pleasure and pain. Emotional attachment to the zone, feeling comfortable, is the hard mental labor that you have to put in. You don't have to get completely out, but just nudge it a little bit at a time. We don't actually have to be in danger. A sense of danger plus imagination, right? In other words, a bill shows up from the electric company, okay? And a bill shows up that your mortgage thing usually comes in and it says, important notice, do not ignore. Immediately, you're going to imagine negative things because uncertainty is always replaced with what? Awfulness, okay? So we didn't even have to be in danger to trigger feelings that we don't want to have. And flight or fight gets triggered. This is conditioned. We've been conditioned to replace uncertainty with awfulness. If you don't comply, you'll go to the principal's office. If you don't hit your numbers, you'll get fired. Okay. And if you're in a network marketing or some kind of sales, direct sales thing, you're the low man on the totem pole. You might be good. You're replaceable. This awfulness, this conditioning that we have to replace uncertainty with awfulness, fires up the comfort zone. And it becomes self-perpetuating. Fear feeds anger, anger feeds fear, both fire the imagination, and it's no surprise that me or you or Harry opts for comfort. We don't want to feel those things, even if it costs us our dream. That comfort keeps the old blueprint, your beliefs that you have, alive. And again, we're back to the waitress. It wasn't one big decision. It was month to month, week to week, day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute decisions. And where were they created? In the subconscious mind, which is run by the comfort zone until we decide to run it. It keeps the old blueprint alive. What's the old blueprint? The psychological or subconscious habits that we have. We see history doesn't repeat itself. People do. And what do we repeat? The programming that's in our subconscious mind. So being uncomfortable is part of the process. It's part of growth. We can learn to manage discomfort in a unique way. So let's talk about a grist mill. Let's say that your DMP, we're going to call that your definite major purpose, the big dream, which isn't getting out of credit card debt and getting a better car. I mean, that really big dream, okay, that you probably don't even know yet, or you think you do, but it's somebody else's. That was certainly the case with me. Let's just say your definite major purpose on the planet, let's call that flower. That's your dharma. so that you're living a life with purpose, of purpose, and on purpose. So if you take wheat and put it into that mill down there and the wheels run over it, all you get is crushed wheat. What they do to get flour, that's not what we want. We don't want crushed wheat. We want flour. How do they get flour? They drop stones or gravel in with the wheat, and it is that gravel that is the change agent and turns, instead of getting crushed wheat, we now get flour. And of course, then they sift it when it comes out. So this is where fight or flight gets triggered. This is really interesting. Comfort is a choice for no change. Ironically, I want to change my life. This really sucks. I want to do this different. I don't want to live here anymore. I want to live in New Mexico rather than New England, or I want to move to Hawaii, or I want to live on the other side, whatever. You know, I want a different, whatever change you want. Yet the comfort zone fires up and we start defending why we can't do what we just said we wanted to do. So we want to expand the comfort zone by becoming an eager learner. This is ironic, isn't it? You know, I want to do this, I want to do this. Well, then you have to make more phone calls to get some customers. So you have more. I don't like making phone calls. You know, you don't understand. I don't have the time to do that. I'm too busy. We don't realize what we're really saying is we're too busy maintaining a life we said we didn't want. Okay. And we just said we want to get rid of. We're too busy defending it to actually make the calls, we'll say. Okay. Making the calls would be the stones in the wheat that creates flour, or your purpose, if you will. It's ironic, isn't it? So you want to expand the zone by becoming an eager learner. Now, Maltz, who is straight Hanel, spent a lifetime proving, and this is really great news. You this far into this lecture mode, and again, on September 4th and 6th, it's no lecture mode. It's highly interactive. We'll work with you hands-on. But this is fantastic. Your automatic creative mechanism operates in terms of goals and results. Once you give it a definite goal and end results, once you give it a definite goal to achieve, you can depend on its automatic guidance system to take you to that goal much better than the you that you currently are could by conscious thought. You supply the goal by thinking in terms of end results. Your automatic mechanism then supplies the means whereby it manifests, unless the comfort zone controls you. And this was the breakthrough for me. In other words, you, me, and everybody walking the planet that has what you have, and you wouldn't be here, like I said, if you didn't have it. You wouldn't be here with me this long if you didn't have it. You have a genetic predisposition to improve. What's holding you back is the comfort zone. You have an automatic manifesting mechanism that gets activated if and only if, IFF, if and only if, we control the zone. Is this grist and stones in my mill? You know, so the things that make us feel a little uncomfortable, those are the stones that turn wheat into flour. They're not in there. We end up with crushed wheat and we say, I didn't want crushed wheat, I wanted flour. But I don't want the stones either. The comfort zone's peptides lead to rash, rinse, rehash, rinse, and repeat. What are peptides? In the back of your head, there's a little factory called the hypothalamus. And for every feeling you have, the hypothalamus excretes a neuropeptide that is unique to that feeling. Let me say that again. A neuropeptide that is unique to that feeling. One for self-loathing, one for anger, one for resentment, one for sadness, one for joy, one for happiness. Now, here's a really interesting thing. Each one of the 60 trillion cells in your body has a docking mechanism for these neuropeptides. And guess what? They're addicted to them. This is why getting out of your comfort zone doesn't work. Because you say, all right, I'm not going to procrastinate anymore, and it's uncomfortable for you not to do that. So you go a couple of days without procrastinating, and then, or let's say you don't want to be angry anymore. You go a couple of days with staying calm, but then boom, it's right back, because every cell in your body is screaming, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me the neuropeptides, feed me my physical addiction. Your cells are physically addicted, and if you don't go through the master key experience with us, you'll constantly be making progress and then stepping back, two forward, two back, two forward, two back, and that gets really monotonous and discouraging. So the comfort zones peptides lead to rehash, rinse, and repeat. The millstones, the things that make you slightly uncomfortable, that's what adds strength. So what does all this mean? Let's get right down to bedrock here. Well, the wall of the comfort zone, we're going to look at a little differently. Fear is a brick, okay? And guilt, unworthiness, anger, and hurt feelings are the mortar. Sadness is anger turned inward. So if you don't say, well, I'm not an angry person, but if you get sad or feel depressed or despair once in a while, that's just anger turned inward. We project outcomes, we perceive danger, and we're back to the same thing. That uncertainty about trying something new rather than going with the tried and true creates what? Awfulness in where? The comfort zone or our subconscious mind. This is a demarcation point for people like you that want to become self-directed thinkers, that don't want to set their goals, their life, and their dreams based on other people's values, but there's a hearkening to you. There's a heralding from your heart that you know your life could be more valuable. You know that you could feel more fulfillment. You know that you could help more people. But fear, unworthiness, guilt, hurt feelings, and anger, what if they were tools? Think about those 5 words as an observer, okay? Life is at the edge of the comfort zone, okay? If you're not on the edge, you're taking up too much space. And there it is again, the components: fear, guilt, unworthiness, hurt feelings, and anger. So let's talk about stretching it a little bit every day. And these are new tools for you, okay? So let me just be candid with you about the way the American public has been conditioned, and now it's turning into worldwide. You have this instant gratification. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced, and everybody wants to be comfortable. That will keep you in the life that you have. It's going to take some time for you to learn these tools, and it's going to take some time to use these tools, and it's going to take some time to master these tools. But within 2 to 3 weeks, you can be a completely different person that's nudging that zone a little bit every day. And within a month, you won't even recognize yourself. So let's set up the breakthrough into a new reality. We want to take fear, anger, guilt, hurt feelings, and unworthiness, and we want to show you how to turn them into tools. Out of the Master Key system, Hanel writes, difficulties and harmonies and obstacles indicate that we're either refusing to give up what we no longer need or refusing to accept what we require. I want to urge you to accept these tools. You know, I'm sure you've used the word or heard the phrase hundreds of times, if not thousands, in life, comfort zone. Now you finally know what it is. Could you have defined it that simply before? Now you know what it is. Now we're going to take those 5 restrictive walls and show you how they are tools. So fear is the brick. Guilt, unworthiness, anger, and hurt feelings, they're the mortar. Okay? We project outcomes, we perceive danger. Fear is a tool. Why? It gives you enormous amount of energy to do what? The hard mental labor to create change. And it starts with gratitude. You've got to do what I do and what the people that have been through the Master Keys that have changed their life. This is just a stack from this month alone. It's about the 6th of August. These are things that I am grateful for. Okay. Here's my gratitudes from last week. 3 a day, and write them out this way. I am grateful for coffee. I am grateful for my son, Harry. I am grateful for my beautiful daughter, Chelsea. You want to say, I am. It is an enormous amount of energy that gives you the energy to do the hard mental labor. But you must be coming from a place of gratitude. That's first, okay? So think of a magnifying glass, and it's a fall day, and you're out there with your nephew or your son or your granddaughter or whatever, and you're holding this magnifying glass on a beautiful sunny day over these dried leaves. If you keep moving it around, nothing happens. If you hold it still, that magnifying glass will eventually create combustion in the leaves, and your nephew will say, oh my gosh, you should see what Uncle Eddie did, okay? Fear brings intense focus and it eliminates all distractions. You're never in fear and yawning. You're never in fear and thinking about 7 or 8 different things. Think about, you're supposed to pick your kid up at school at 2:30, and it's 10 past 2, and the school is 5 minutes from Starbucks. And so you pull into the Starbucks, you're going to grab a coffee for yourself and a nice maca tea, iced tea for your kid. And you go into Starbucks and you come out, oh my gosh, you lock the keys in the car. Right away, you get hit with fear. There's nothing else going on. You get real creative. You go in, your cell phone is locked in the car and your keys are locked in the car. You're going to ask strangers, you're going to ask for help. You're going to, if you can, you're going to jog to the school, but you're going to find a creative way so that that kid isn't terrorized and traumatized. Why? Because fear brings focus and attention. It eliminates all distractions. And we all know the biggest distraction is, of course, this doom scrolling thing, because people would rather escape than deal with reality. Okay. So this intense concentration automatically and instantly determine importance. Imagine that type of intensity directed towards your definite major purpose. So you can use fear and convert it in those thoughts of fear into energy. This is the energy I need to make those calls. This is the energy and focus I need to create change. In other words, it creates remarkable alertness. You're not like, again, you're coming out of Starbucks, everything's locked in the car. You're not saying, hey, man, can I use your phone to scroll TikTok? No. And borrow his phone, call the school, let them know what happened. Can somebody wait? And you're going to get an Uber. You're going to do whatever you have to do, including breaking the window. Everybody get it? Okay, great. Hurt feelings. Hurt feelings acknowledge that you care. When your feelings get hurt because you asked Sally to look at your network marketing business, she said, that's one of those pyramid things. If your feelings got hurt, you have to realize self-pity converts to passion once you master this tool. It's the law of substitution. A mind cannot hold more than one thought. It can't hold 2 thoughts. So when your feelings got hurt by Sally saying, that's one of those pyramid things, it should remind you how much you care about what you're doing. And all Sally did was say no, and maybe she said it in a mean way, but it doesn't matter. It's a reminder, not a distraction of how much you care. So changing our beliefs, growing up, and celebrating, wow, that really hurt, that kind of hurt my feelings. Man, I must really care about this company I'm representing and the hope that they're bringing people in both the product and the opportunity. Releasing ourselves from how the world should treat us. See, if Sally says, oh, that's one of those pyramid things, I can't believe you fell for that. What we're saying is, Sally should treat me a certain way. All we did was extend an invitation and she said no. Okay. Got home, I got home with my kids. Davine got home with her kids. And in network marketing, this goes back into the mid-90s. Davine was in my downline. I didn't even know her. And anyway, she said, I want what you have. I said, what do you think I have? She said, well, I know you're a single parent raising 2 kids on your own and you're home with your kids. I want to be home with my kids and be able to work while they're at school and really enjoy them afterwards. And so that happened for her. Did we still run into Sally's? Yeah. But it just reminded us of how much we care about getting people an option. And we set it as a mastermind goal to get at least one couple or a single parent, at least enough revenue coming in that they could be home with their kids and be there when they left for school in the morning, when they got home, and make plenty of money. In other words, the Sally's reminded us of how much we care. So hurt feelings, don't make it about Sally. Remember, wow, I really care. I really believe in what I'm doing. I'm sorry that she doesn't see it, but it's reminded me I'm in the right deal here. Anger, easier said than done. 7 laws of the mind. I hope you'll forgive my redundancy, but anger gives you massive energy. Science is clear about holding a thought. The average person can't hold a thought for more than 6 seconds. When you're feeling anger, or any feeling, as a matter of fact, the body only excretes those chemicals that match that feeling for 90 seconds. However, it gives us massive energy. Be the observer and watch the next time you're angry, right? Instead of you're angry because your son didn't take out the trash or whatever, somebody parked too close to you or dented your car door with their car. What a tragedy, right? Um, be the observer and say, wow, there's this surge of energy coming over me. So you want to use the law of substitution. You can only hold one thought and say, wow, I have the energy to expand my comfort zone right now. And the law of dual thought is you can attach any feeling you want to any experience. Is anger a reason to stop chasing your dream? It certainly gives you the energy to make the phone calls or bang the nails or put in that extra time, right? Rather than going for the tried and true, using that to step into the unknown. So you want to channel it. It's going to be directed somewhere. You know, Frank Sinatra, the chairman of the board, said the best revenge is living well. Anger is a power tool. No charge or court is required. You can substitute productivity for the bully pulpit. When you do that, there's no emotional hangover. You might be tired, but you'll be triumphant. Give you a perfect example. In the political climate today, I'm not a political guy. You know, I believe that people that are in office today, they're selected, not elected. We don't really have a choice. And until there's term limits and no PAC money, you know, forget about it. That's a whole nother story. But you know, what happens is something happens, and then we're scrolling through social media and somebody posted something post for Trump or against Trump and whatever. You're in the opposite camp, and you come home and you're yelling at the top of your lungs to your husband or to your wife. I can't believe that how stupid the American public is. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Look at you want to, instead of coming home and getting on the bully pulpit, what you want to do is say, oh, this is a surge of energy. I'm going to go make 20 more calls to potential clients for my business, my coaching program, my network marketing deal, my real estate business, whatever. And so it gives you this surge of energy that you can go and pretend by impressing someone with all your reasoning about why Democrats suck or Republicans suck and how stupid the public is, and you can waste all that time, or you can say, hey, it's Mark. You got 2 minutes for a quick business call. You can take that anger and channel that energy into what? Nudging that zone a little bit, because it gives you energy. Now, guilt is simply self-directed anger. Anger carries energy for change. Physical change, mental change, emotional change, and the biggie, of course, spiritual change. You want to embrace guilt when you feel it. Atonement, I love converting the word atonement into at one meant. If my purpose is going to serve the greater good, if the end user's benefit usage value is greater than the dollar value they gave me, and what I want is good for me and it doesn't take anybody else's good, and the transactions, in everybody's opinion, benefits everybody, I am at one ment with the universal mind. Here's what you need to know when you feel guilty. Good people feel bad when they make a mistake. I was talking to a kid just an hour before I got on this call. It's why I got on this an hour later than I was planning on. We had a comment. He was feeling really guilty, and I was able to point out to him, you feel guilty about what happened, right? And he said, yeah. I said, do you realize that shows you that you're a good person and you know what you're supposed to do? See, bad people feel good when they do something bad, but good people feel bad when they make a mistake. This is a validation. Guilt is a validation that you're a spiritual compass, and knowing what to do is in you. You already know what to do, and your spiritual compass is intact. So are you shutting down when you feel guilty and having a little self-pity party? Or are you saying, wow, I know what I'm supposed to do. I just didn't do it. I forgive myself. And I'm going to use this self-directed anger. What does anger give us? Energy. I'm going to use a self-directed anger, okay, to make those 10 calls, to pound those 3 more boards on the deck, okay? You know, you're going to build a back deck, and it was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago, and you're feeling really guilty. Take that anger, go out, put the floodlights on, and finish up that porch, okay? So guilt is evidence that you know what to do. And you can ask, what am I afraid of? 100% of the time, when you get honest with yourself and say, what am I really afraid of? That always gets answered, okay? It's confirmation. It's honesty and it's energy. It's not about good or bad. Have some compassion, and we can change our beliefs instead of berating. Say, man, I feel so guilty. I must really want this, and I know what to do. I probably need a mastermind partner and some hands-on support. Somebody that'll hold me accountable. And we'll give you that in the Master Key experience for 6 months. We'll give you someone that's dedicated to your dream, all scholarshiped. Okay, it's only 400 slots available. How do we do that? Well, the generosity of the people that went through it last year, they quote unquote paid it forward for you. So this isn't a pitch to join us. It's a pitch for you to join you. And it begins with the vision workshop, the beginning of September. So unworthiness is the last of the walls. Don't labor over definitions. Shift from constructive to expansive. Give yourself permission to feel worthy. Listen to me. You can have anything you want. You just can't have everything you want all at the same time. You just can't be great at business, great at social influence in your town, great at being a parent, and great in your spiritual life, because greatness requires virtually everything you have. It's got nothing to do with worthiness. It's about tool. And the burden is a tool, okay? We're worthy of anything, but not worthy of everything we want at the same time right now, unless what? Unless you have a tiny, tiny, tiny list that doesn't mean anything, or you have a plan to live forever. Because greatness requires greatness. To do something great, you have to think only great thoughts about one thing. You simply cannot be the best deacon at your church, the best father, the best husband, the best network marketer, the best real estate guy, the best politically active person in your town, all at the same time. In other words, the only way you can get everything on your list is if your definite major purpose in life, your list amounts to, I want to watch the Red Sox on TV, drinking a diet soda with a Snickers bar. Well, yeah, you can have all three of those things. They're not going to do you any good, but you get the idea. So it's the time and price. This is a big word that defeats unworthiness. Ladies, gentlemen, have some humility. There might be 7 or 8 things. And again, we'll get it down to one thing. It'll be your choice. We'll get it down to one thing in the vision workshop that we'll have. I believe that's the markjway.net. I think you can go there and already get to the concierge page has already been set up. But you've got to have the humility to pick that one thing. Because when you find that one thing, I'm going to tell you something. I found that one thing for me. That one thing for me was I read the Master Key System, and I knew I wanted to develop a course around it, and I knew I wanted to be contrary to what everybody else says. I'm an expert. Pay me $3,000. I wanted to be able to give it away because I believed in the generosity and goodness of people, despite what it says on the fucking news, that there's just so many great people out there. So I want to give this course away, and I've been able to do that. You got to have the humility to pick that one thing. So I picked my one thing. Because I have that one thing, it doesn't matter what else is going on. And we'll help you pick that one thing. Won't be what we pick for you, but you learn how to pick with your heart. Look, we're not kids anymore, but this is how it used to be before I developed some humility. I wanted to be a top earner. I wanted to be Father of the Year. I wanted to be the #1 speaker with my network marketing company. I wanted to be a church leader, a deacon, okay? I wanted to start a nonprofit organization to feed the hungry. I wanted a massive dream house. I wanted to end GMO testing, get it out of here. I wanted to save the world. I wanted to write a book, and I wanted to find God. And then next week, it was an even bigger list. Why do we pile all those things on our plate? They're all things that we think would make us feel worthy to the world without. And we overfill our plate, not being able to get any of it done, which what feeds unworthiness. by expanding the list, we be beyond what's possible for anybody. Anybody, we fail and we feel unworthy, okay? You are worthy. Here's the criteria. If it's good for you, it doesn't take anybody else's good, it's going to serve the greater good, and it's derived through a product or service where the end user's opinion is that the usage value is greater than the dollar value, then the universe will open up synchronicities. You still have to do the work, but the reality is you are worthy if your goal, if your big dream is in line with those criteria. Good for you, doesn't take anybody else's good, derived through goods or services where the end user's usage value is greater than the dollar value, then the universe is going to work on your behalf. Still have to do the work. So by adding more things, we're moving the magnifying glass, and lack of focus means less performance, and we feel what? Unworthy. So what do we do to compensate? And I'm going to coach Little League. Okay. And I'm going to be a dog trainer. Okay. And I'm going to breed my English setter dogs too. We pile more on, trying to feel more worthy, and we get into that backward cycle. The content of your soul is all you need to worry about. Create a clearer definition of that. Come to the vision workshop. And this is yours. And maybe you already know what it is, like I did. But once I did, I stopped adding things onto the plate. There's plenty of wonderful things. It'd be great to have that. It'd be great to do that. But if they're not moving me towards my purpose, which is to develop 30,000 self-directed thinkers through the Master Key experience, then it simply isn't mine. That's humility. It speaks to us like a friend. It's the heralding of our heart. And when we start to feel unworthy, what's happening is we have unconsciously piled more projects on the plate, and that unworthiness is a tool that says, hey, Mark, over here, that other stuff you're looking at, that time you're spending playing chess online, that time you're doom scrolling, okay, you're off track. So unworthiness tells us we're off track once we pick a purpose. Listen to the voice. It keeps us on our compass point, our true north, and it's saying, yeah, Mark, you're looking at this, you're like, over here, Master Key experience, you believe, not you, the listener, but this is what I say to myself, I believe the problems in the world are because people are not thinking for themselves. They're getting trapped into thinking if they hate reds or they hate blues, that everything's going to be okay. This is not about division. This is about unity. Harmony defeats elites. Never forget that. No, we don't have to do anything. We just have to get in harmony with each other. So that's my purpose, is so that no matter how red you are, when you see a blue, you're saying, wow, that's an interesting perspective. It's so nice that we can disagree, but not be disagreeable. Peace, love, and understanding. This is my purpose. I'm sharing it with you. And when I get off, unworthiness is saying to me, hey, you're off your purpose here. Get back on track, okay? Powering up unworthiness as soon as you feel it, reach for it. And ask yourself this question all day long. I'm going to write this down on an index card right now and keep it with you for 168 hours. That's 1 week. In everything you do, from taking out the trash to getting in your car, keep looking at that card that says, what would the person I intend to become do next? Because you must become that person to have that thing, that big dream. It warns us we're getting off track, and it instantly puts us back on the path to our Dharma, so that we're living a life with purpose, on purpose, and of purpose. And that also develops that humility. Let other people do the wonderful things. Just take care of the one wonderful thing you want to. So let's review the toolbox. Fear gives us energy, concentration, and focus. Can't deny that. Anger gives us the energy to change. Okay. Unworthiness keeps us on track. It lets us know when we're off track. Guilt validates the good in us. It tells us, I know what I'm supposed to. I used to feel guilty when I was in network marketing back in the early 90s. And I'd feel guilty because and say, well, I'll make twice as many calls tomorrow. Then I feel guilty about it. But I had learned in here, oh, that means I'm a good person. I know what to do. I just didn't do it. And so I got some leads in California so that because I was in Massachusetts at the time. So I had no excuse. I could even dial up to midnight back in Massachusetts. And remember, hurt feelings, they with Sally saying that's one of those pyramid things, or you're selling real estate now. All that is that, wow, I must really care. My feelings wouldn't be hurt if I didn't care. I do care. And I have to convince Sally, she's just saying no in a harsh way. Maybe she had a bad day. Let's just send her some love. So most people suck at most things. I do. And everybody sucks at everything the first few times. The zone will control you until you realize your desire is not enough. It's got to be the mission, the music of your heart. The biggest deal breaker that we've seen in 15 years, we worked with over 4,000 people. You know, we're not going to tell you these lies. I love these guys that say, I've worked with over 90,000 people and churned over $9 billion. What a bunch of bullshit. Then why are they advertising? Okay. If they had been successful, they'd be choking on it. They'd be giving stuff away like we do. See, we give these things away to you for a simple reason. We want you to see, and you will in the workshop because that's highly interactive. We want you to see what real professionals bring to the table. Because we'll have more than 400 applicants for the Master Key experience, which is 6 months of hands-on help with a guide that's been trained to work with you. And they don't work with 20 or 30 people. They work with 4 or 5 people for 6 months, dedicated to your goals and helping you navigate the course. So we've worked with over 4,000 people. 2 of them, since 2010, knew their authentic purpose. They never found that one thing that they could let everything else go, and that they knew this was going to give them fulfillment. This is going to positively affect other people. They weren't worried about the money or success. They were totally detached from the outcome. How do you find it? We want you to join us for the Master Key experience. That begins at the end of September. So I strongly suggest that you plug into the Vision Workshop. You'll find that one thing. You'll find out, I'll prove to you that actually with real science, I'll prove to you that there's 5 steps. And the 5th step, setting goals, is the first step that all self-helpers and self-help books set goals and take massive action. The only massive action that you ever have to take is the hard mental labor to control your thinking. I built all these businesses in less than 12 hours a week. You don't need any more time than that to do something great inside what you've been given. So join us for the Vision Workshop. Jump on our list. And the most important thing you can do is realize when I went over carrots and sticks, you see, me, you, and Harry, like I said, went down to the river. Harry got eaten. So me and you, we have this camera, pictures in our amygdala. Okay. And what's happened over these thousands of years is the human being, and this is science out of Pitchell's book, Hardwiring Happiness, that we all have a genetic predisposition to negativity. Now, I know, like me, you don't think you're negative. Okay. But believe me, you have a negative predisposition or a genetic predisposition to negativity. So wipe that out. Get busy on it this next week. You can go to markjbooks.info and check that out. I think you'll be shocked, but do it non-judgmentally. Okay, you'll be shocked like I was at how many negative thoughts you have in the course of a day. And once you wipe that out, then using these 5 tools we gave you today to just nudge that comfort zone a little bit. And by the way, there's a document down below that you can utilize to get more out of this webcast and start to see some of the material that we supply you with on a weekly basis. And we're going to really give you a lot more than that. Anyway, the main thing is we love doing these free, and again, we're asking you to take more free things from us. We're not trying to sell you anything, but we really helps us do more of this for you, bring you more content more often, as well as several people that have been successful with us that have developed their gifts and want to come here. So please like and subscribe. It really helps build the channel, get the word out there, and then we get more of our successful people on here to share their gifts, and they don't have anything for sale either. Anyway, peace be the journey. Again, I hope this has helped you in some way. We'd love a comment down below, and we'd love you to thank us by helping us build the channel of getting real stuff out there, not bullshit, so we can do more of these workshops for you. And don't forget, markjbooks.info, and you can go, I think, Dave, it's the markjway.net. You can already get an early subscription to that vision workshop, which is highly interactive. It says 4 hours, but it's two 2-hour sessions. Love you guys. Peace be the journey.